The ship came out of hyperspace with a scream that never reached anyone's ears. The light from its engines flickered, then went out, leaving a small trail of silver metal drifting through the endless glow of Valaris 9. Inside, a single human sat in a cracked pilot seat, blinking through smoke. His name was Elias Carter, test pilot for the United Terran Fleet, or at least he had been 5 minutes ago. Now his console showed nothing but red. Power levels at 0. Navigation offline. Life support failing. Well, he muttered, pressing a few useless buttons. Guess that's what they mean by uncharted space. Outside his viewport stretched a world that looked like a living sun. Rivers of glowing energy ran across a surface made of light itself. There was no land, no sky, just layers of shimmering plasma that pulsed like a heartbeat. It was a place no human was meant to survive. Elias adjusted his cracked helmet and said to no one, "Time to make first contact or last mistake." When the ship entered the upper layer of the planet's energy field, alarms screamed again. The hull glowed white-hot, and for a moment Elias thought he saw shapes, tall, luminous figures moving through the glow. Then everything went dark. He woke up inside the wreck, floating. The crash had somehow stopped his descent. His instruments said the air was full of ionized particles that should have fried him instantly, but the readings didn't make sense. It was warm, breathable, even calm. He crawled out through a hole in the hull and looked around. Everything shimmered. The ground under his boots looked like glass made of light. When he stepped, the surface rippled softly like a pond. "Okay," he whispered. "Definitely not Kansas." Then he heard a sound, not through his ears, but in his mind. A cry, faint, desperate. He turned toward a pillar of light spinning far away. Inside it, he saw something, a figure trapped in the storm. Elias blinked his helmet sensors on. The readings made no sense again, but one thing was clear. Something alive was in there, and it was dying. He didn't think twice. The ship's systems were dead, but a small maintenance drone still worked, its battery half drained. He reprogrammed it to follow him and record data. Then he walked toward the storm. The wind hit him like a wall. Plasma arcs flashed inches from his suit, burning small holes, but he kept going. He could hear the voice more clearly now, a faint echo of pain and fear. "I'm coming," he said, not knowing if whoever it was could hear him. The storm grew worse. Energy waves cracked the ground, and each step felt heavier. His body screamed for rest, but his stubbornness, his very human refusal to give up, pushed him on. When he reached the center, he saw her. She was made of light, tall, elegant. Her form shifting like flame, but shaped like a person. She was trapped in a vortex of plasma threads, unable to escape. Her glow was dimming, flickering like a candle. Without thinking, Elias used the drone to project a containment field. It wasn't meant for this kind of energy, but he had learned long ago that meant for never stopped a good engineer. "All right," he muttered. "Hold together, little buddy." He walked into the storm. The field buzzed, sputtered, and almost failed, but he reached her. Her eyes, or what looked like eyes, focused on him in shock. She tried to speak, and though no words came out, Elias somehow understood her. "You cannot be here. You will dissolve." "Lady," he said through gritted teeth, "humans dissolve later." He wrapped a cable around her form, and the drone expanded its field around them both. The plasma screamed, and then, with a sound like 1,000 bells, the storm collapsed. They fell onto the glowing ground. Elias's suit was half melted, his oxygen low, and the drone was fried. But the glowing woman was alive. She hovered weakly, her light soft and warm. You are solid," she said, her voice now audible like crystal chimes. "You should not exist here." "Yeah," Elias said, panting. "That's been said before." The woman tilted her head, studying him. "You saved me. None of my kind could enter the storm without being scattered." He shrugged. "Guess it's easier when you're made of meat." The woman seemed confused by the word, then smiled faintly, a shimmer of gold light. "I am Seraphine, daughter of the Aurelian Emperor." Elias blinked. "Princess Right, of course." Before he could say more, other lights appeared, dozens of radiant figures descending from the horizon, forming a circle around them. Their presence filled the air with a hum like music. One of them, brighter than the rest, spoke. "Princess Seraphine, we feared you lost to the storm." "Who is this solid creature?" Elias opened his mouth to explain, but the princess spoke first. "He is my savior. The lights pulsed in surprise. The tall one spoke again, voice deep and echoing. A being of matter? From the stars? Impossible, Elias coughed. Yeah, I get that a lot too. They surrounded him, scanning with beams of light that tickled his skin. He felt no harm, only curiosity. Then, with a soft tone of approval, the leader gestured toward the horizon. The Emperor must see this. Before Elias could argue, a soft field lifted him into the air. The princess floated beside him, her glow growing stronger. As they traveled, the landscape unfolded, cities made of energy, towers of light flowing like liquid, creatures of plasma swimming through radiant seas. Elias felt like he was dreaming, yet everything was too vivid to be fantasy. They reached a palace that shone brighter than a sun. It wasn't made of stone or metal, but pure energy arranged in geometric perfection. Inside, a figure brighter than all others waited on a throne of crystal flame, the Emperor. His voice was deep and harmonious. My daughter, you returned to us and with a being unknown to our universe. Seraphine bowed her light. He saved me, Father. He walked into the storm when none of us could. The Emperor studied Elias. A creature of atoms, flesh and blood. Yet he endured the plasma maelstrom. Remarkable. Elias gave a small, awkward salute. Just doing what any decent guy would do, Your Majesty. The Emperor tilted his head. You risked your existence for another you did not know. That's kind of what we do, Elias said, scratching his helmet. Humans, we help. There was silence. Then a sound like a great chord filled the hall. The Emperor was laughing, though it felt more like music than sound. A noble heart, he said at last. A rare thing among any race. For this deed you shall be honored beyond measure. Elias smiled nervously. Thanks. A hot meal and a way home would be more than enough. But the Emperor raised a hand, light flaring. No, you saved the life of my only child. By our law, the savior of royal blood is bound to that blood. You shall be joined to my daughter in union. Elias blinked. Wait, what? The court of light beings stirred, their glow intensifying. Seraphine looked surprised too. Father, perhaps he does not. But the Emperor continued. It is decided. The bond will unite our kind with his. A new era shall begin. Elias took a step back. Sir, I think there's been a misunderstanding. Humans don't, unite like that. I mean, not the way you mean. The Emperor's tone was calm but firm. The fusion ceremony will take place at dawn. Two attendants of light approached, guiding Elias gently but firmly away. Seraphine looked at him helplessly. Do not fear. I will speak to him. Please do, Elias said, because I have no idea what's going on. He was led to a chamber filled with floating light crystals. It was beautiful, calm, and impossibly alien. He sat down, running his hands through the glowing air, watching it ripple around his fingers. Save the princess, get a medal, he muttered. Save the princess, get married to a light beam. Great job, Carter. The walls pulsed softly as if listening. Hours passed. The Aurelians brought him energy-infused food that tasted like sweet mist. They studied him politely, asking questions about his body, his thoughts, his world. Elias tried to explain things like coffee, music, and rain. They seemed fascinated by everything, especially his heart, an organ that kept him alive by beating constantly. To them, that idea was strange and poetic. When Seraphine visited later, her glow had softened. She looked at him curiously. Your people live in bodies that age and die. And yet you risked that fragile life for mine. Elias smiled tiredly. Yeah, that's kind of our thing. We're stubborn about doing what's right, even if it hurts. She seemed moved. My father means only to honor you, but our customs may differ from yours, and that's one way to put it, Elias said. Where I come from, marriage is about choice, not royal orders. Seraphine thought for a long time, her light flickering like a heartbeat. Choice. I have never heard that word used that way. You choose love? Yeah, Elias said quietly. It's not about laws or power. It's about wanting to walk beside someone. Her light shimmered softly. Beautiful. Before he could say more, a musical tone echoed through the air, the Emperor's summons. The ceremony is prepared, a voice announced. Elias groaned. Of course it is. He followed Seraphine through halls of shimmering light to a massive chamber. Thousands of Aurelians gathered, forming an ocean of color. In the center was a crystalline platform pulsing with rhythm. The Emperor stood above it, his glow filling the room. Tonight the savior of my child and the daughter of the Aurelian Empire shall be joined in the fusion of light and matter. The crowd sang in tones that made the air vibrate. Elias felt his pulse race. He whispered to Seraphine, "You're sure this won't, melt me?" She gave him a reassuring glow. "I will not let harm come to you." The ceremony began. Energy swirled around them, weaving patterns of gold and white. Elias felt warmth spreading through him, his vision brightening. The morning light on Valaris 9 did not rise. It simply shimmered, spreading slowly across the energy seas, bathing the palace in a gentle glow. Elias Carter stood on a balcony with Princess Seraphine, watching the waves of light ripple endlessly. "I still don't understand how you live here," Elias said, running a hand through his messy hair. "It's beautiful but terrifying at the same time." Seraphine laughed softly, a sound like wind through crystal. "You think this is terrifying? You are made of solid flesh, and yet you walked into the storm that would have scattered any Aurelian. You are fearless in ways we cannot imagine." "Not fearless," Elias replied. "Stupid, maybe." "Determined, definitely." She tilted her head. "There is a difference?" "Yes," he said, smiling. "Fearless sounds heroic. Determined is just stubborn, and maybe a little lucky." She considered this for a moment, then nodded. "I can see that. Your stubbornness is admirable. And your luck. Well, your luck brought you to me." He looked down at the glowing city below. Thousands of Aurelian citizens moved through luminous streets, their bodies flowing like liquid light. For them, everything was rhythm, harmony, and perfection. Elias's human eyes saw chaos and beauty all at once. He wondered if the Aurelians could truly understand humans. Their world was orderly, predictable, and glowing, while humans were messy, emotional, and unpredictable. And yet here he was, standing among them, somehow welcomed. "You're not like anyone I've met," Seraphine said softly, breaking his thoughts. "You're kind. You feel in ways we cannot. You risk your life for strangers. You laugh, cry, and hope in the same moment." "It is fascinating," Elias shrugged. "We're kind of a mess, but I like to think the mess is what makes us strong." She studied him, her glow pulsing with curiosity. "Perhaps that is why you survived the storm. Not because your body is solid, but because your heart is strong." Elias laughed, scratching the back of his neck. "Heart's been through worse storms than plasma, believe me." Their conversation was interrupted by a soft hum. The Emperor's voice reached them across the balcony, calm and resonant. "Princess Elias Carter, come. We shall discuss the future," Elias groaned. "And here I thought we were just hanging out." Seraphine smiled, her light flickering in amusement. "The Emperor wishes to speak. But fear not. I will speak for you when I can." They followed the glowing paths through the palace to the throne room. The Emperor sat on his crystal seat, radiant and imposing. Thousands of Aurelians formed a circle, silent and waiting. Elias felt a flutter of nervousness in his chest. "You are awake early," the Emperor said, his voice echoing like a melody. "I have considered your words and actions. The ceremony was postponed, yet our laws are clear. The savior of royal blood must be united with the princess." Elias took a deep breath. "Your Majesty, I respect your customs, but humans choose who they bond with. I didn't save the princess for reward. I did it because it was the right thing to do. That's what humans do. Most of us help when we can." The Emperor's glow pulsed thoughtfully. "Your words carry honesty, and yet your kind's choice seems chaotic." "Yes," Elias admitted. "Maybe, but it works. We survive because we can make decisions. Even bad ones. Even messy ones." The Emperor regarded him in silence. Then Seraphine stepped forward, her light steady. "Father, this human has given me a gift greater than life itself. He has shown me courage, empathy, and understanding. I wish to know him, to learn from him before any union is made. Can you honor that?" The Emperor's glow flickered briefly, then steadied. "A test of understanding," he murmured. "Very well. You shall have one cycle, our time, for knowledge and experience before any decision of union." Elias exhaled slowly. "Thank you, that's all I needed." The Emperor waved his hand, dismissing the court. The Aurelians dispersed, leaving Elias and Seraphine alone in the throne room. "Looks like we have some time," Seraphine said, her glow brightening. "We must teach each other about our worlds." "Sounds good," Elias said, smiling. "But you should know humans are kind of strange." "Then you must teach me everything," she replied. "I wish to understand your strangeness." Over the next several days, Elias and Seraphine explored both their worlds. She took him to the energy fields beyond the palace, showing him rivers of light that shifted with emotion and thought. Elias marveled at their beauty, recording data and taking notes, though he knew the measurements could never capture the magic of the experience. In return, Elias taught Seraphine about humanity. He showed her laughter, telling jokes so simple they made her glow flicker in confusion and delight. He explained music, describing rhythm, melody, and harmony, then playing recordings from Earth. At first, she could not understand why humans found sound so moving, but after a while she began to sway with the rhythm, mimicking the vibrations with her glowing form. He showed her games, puzzles, and small acts of kindness, helping a stranger, comforting a friend. She watched intently, learning the ways humans think, act, and care. "I never knew life could be so messy," Seraphine said one evening, floating beside him as the twin suns of Valaris 9 shimmered on the horizon. "Yet beautiful. Your kind finds meaning in uncertainty and choice. It is inspiring." "Messy is part of the fun," Elias said with a grin. "We mess up, we fix it, we laugh, we cry, we survive. That's how we grow." She looked at him, a pulse of light radiating gently. "I see now why you saved me. Not because you are strong, but because you are human. You carry courage, compassion, and hope all in a fragile body. That is what strength truly is." As the cycle ended, the Emperor summoned them again. The throne room was full, brighter than ever. Aurelians gathered, awaiting the decision. Elias stood beside Seraphine, feeling the weight of expectation. The Emperor's glow intensified. "Princess, have you understood the ways of this human?" Seraphine floated forward, her light steady and warm. "Yes, Father. He is not only my savior, but also a teacher. He has shown me the value of choice, of understanding, and of love that is freely given. I wish no fusion that binds us unwillingly. Instead, I ask to walk beside him, to learn, to grow, and to share knowledge between our worlds." A murmur ran through the court. Elias felt his heart race. I would be honored, Your Majesty." Walking beside her is more than enough. The Emperor considered this. "You propose a bond of respect and learning, not one of form? A union of hearts and minds, not matter?" "Yes," Seraphine said firmly. "We choose our bond. We honor each other's freedom and individuality." The Emperor's light pulsed slowly, then he laughed. A sound like a chord struck perfectly. "So be it. Let it be known that the union of hearts is formed, not by law or force, but by understanding and choice. Humanity and Aurelian shall walk together, learning from one another, sharing knowledge and fostering respect." The Aurelians cheered, their light shimmering in waves across the hall. Elias felt a hand brush his, and he looked at Seraphine. She smiled, her glow soft and bright. "You did it," she said. "You taught them about humans. You changed our world." "No," Elias said, shaking his head with a grin. "We did it. Together." From that day, Elias became a bridge between two worlds. Humans taught Aurelians about choice, emotion, and curiosity. Aurelians taught humans about energy, harmony, and patience. Together, they discovered new forms of art, science, and understanding, blending their strengths without losing their uniqueness. Elias sometimes wondered how a single human could survive in a world of light without armor, without force, without powers. Then he remembered the storm, the flicker of fear, and the stubborn, foolish hope that had pushed him forward. And he realized survival had never been about strength. It had been about heart. One evening, as Elias and Seraphine stood on a balcony overlooking the glowing seas, he said quietly, "I guess humans are more than just survival machines." "You are more than survival," she replied, her glow reflecting in his eyes. "You are hope, courage, and maybe a little bit of chaos. But the right kind," Elias laughed. "I'll take that." And for the first time, he truly understood what it meant to belong somewhere, not because of power, but because of choice, understanding, and heart. As the twin suns set, their lights mingling with the shimmering seas below, two worlds began a new journey, not as ruler and subject, but as equals, partners, and friends. And somewhere in the vastness of Valaris 9, a single human smiled, knowing that sometimes the greatest adventure is simply walking beside someone, choosing every step together.